Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jessica. Today is my Pan Those Eyeshadows update for the month of August of 2003. And I am 2003. Oh my gosh. 2023. Let's come forward 20 years. So welcome. I am excited to film this video. I do have an update for you. And despite what you may think, this video is not really late. I have gotten into the routine of filming this video around the 10th of each month. Today is the 12th. I filmed this video on the 12th of last month, so it's been exactly 30 days, and that just seems to be how the cookie is crumbling in my schedule right now. And I have been especially busy the past week because it was the first week of school. I did start school this weekend. Obviously that comes with a lot of preparation and anticipation and work, right? It's work. I'm a teacher and it's a busy time of year. So I'm excited to sit down today on this Saturday and I'm feeling myself today. I mean, my hair has not looked better in a long time. I actually took the time to style my hair today before I sat down for a video. Are you proud of me? It came out better than I expected. I'm trying to learn how to curl my hair with a straightener, and this is my first official attempt. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Maybe something I'm gonna do more often. I always have the creator and credits in the description box of this project, so please check them out below. Alexi started this project a long time ago, and it has taken off in the YouTube community, and it's a really popular project to do. It's really, really fun to play with eyeshadows and experiment with different combinations. So I'm gonna go through each of these eyeshadows one by one, let you know my progress on them, but before I get started, please take a moment to give this video a quick thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you in my little YouTube family here. So let's jump right on in. Starting with the eyeshadow that's been in this project the longest, it's coming from my Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, and it is the shade Karma. So here's what Karma looks like in the swatch. It's like a corally, peachy, matte shade. Really good transition shade. It's been great for this time of year. So here's what Karma was looking like when I first brought it into this project. During the first month, I reached for it 7 times, and it was looking like this last month. And during the past month, I reached for it 10 additional times, making for 17 uses total. And here's what Karma is looking like today. And I'm hoping you'll be able to see the tiny little dip that is starting to form in this pan, but it is quite minimal and it might be a little bit tricky to see. These are so pigmented and so firmly pressed. I do not hope to hit pan on this in the next 13 uses. For my rules of my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, I try and reach for each of my eyeshadow shades at least 30 times and keep them in for at least 3 months if I don't hit pan before one of those parameters is met. So this one is going to stay in another month. I'm going to definitely reach for it 13 times. I'm really hoping I will have that 30 use goal for you by the next update and this will roll out, but I do not expect to hit pan on this in any reality. I've reached for a couple of these other shades, not too many, but it's just nice to have it out. I did reach for this shade today in my crease to kind of blend in between 2 other shades, and I love this peachy look on my eyes today. And I also used haze in my lower lash line there. So love that little pop of green. And this is just a fun springy palette to reach for. I love the pastel colors in here and it's one of my favorites, and I'm happy to reach for it for another month, and I'll definitely have that goal met for you by the next update. This next shade comes from the Alamar Cosmetics Reyna Del Caribe palette. Mine's quite dirty, please ignore that. And I've been reaching for my favorite shade in the palette, this one here, El Malacón, which is a really beautiful, shimmery, sagey green color. It is so beautiful and sparkly. And I also have this in my look today on the inner part of my lower lash line for that little pop of sparkle, as well as mixed in with the kind of champagne shade in there to put that pop of shine in my inner corner. So that is how I decided to use these shades today. This shade has been in my project for the past 2 months. Here's what it was looking like when I first rolled it in. Actually, I remember just now that I don't have that footage from when I first rolled it in, so I apologize for that, but here's what it looked like last month. This was after 4 uses in the project, and in the past month, I reached for it an additional 8 times, making for 12 uses total, and here's what El Malacón is looking like today. And you'll see there is a dip starting to form, but nothing significant. I do have a pan next door in La Costa, and it is very, very deep. So this one is gonna be difficult to hit pan on. I'm already getting a little burnt out on the green. I've been wearing it in pretty much the same way each time, and I was getting a little bit bored with it. So I really challenged myself to reach for it in a new and different way today, which is why I decided to pair it with the pink and the peaches and the teal. And I really like how it turned out. So I just need to be encouraged to continue to get creative with this shade and mix it with some colors that I don't normally mix it with and just have fun with it. I still have 18 more uses on this to go before I reach my 3-month goal next month. I don't think that's gonna happen. This one might be with me for more than 3 months because 30 uses is going to be hard to get to before the next update. But I'm okay with that. I love having this palette around. I do love this shade as much as I have been struggling with it. It's not as much of a struggle as I'm making it out right now. It's just not the easiest shade to reach for on a daily basis. But I can find more neutral ways to wear it. I can definitely sheer it out and pair it with like neutral shimmers, and that definitely tones it down a little bit. And then I can wear it with fun, colorful looks on the weekends like this one today. So that one's staying in, maybe for a month, probably for 2, but I'm okay with that. This palette has been needing to get some love, so it's finally getting it, and that's great. The next shade is from The Mandalorian, the Child palette from ColourPop, one of the most adorable palettes in my collection, and it is the shade Droid Protocol, this really deep, dark brown shade. So this came into the project just last month, and it was looking like this. I was able to use this 20 times in the past month, and here's what it's looking like today. There is a small little dip forming on there, especially in the shape of my liner brush. I've mainly been using this shadow as a way to set my cream pencil eyeliner on the top lid. I've really been loving reaching for pencil eyeliner recently, but the one that I'm using tends to transfer. So when I top it with this really dark eyeshadow, it really helps to set it and make it last all day. And I've been loving it for that. I've also been using this just to deepen up more smoky looks. And it's just a beautiful brown. And I love a brown eyeshadow. And I do love this palette, but I haven't reached for much of other shades in here. I think I reached for the Force one time and maybe Precious Cargo to give a little green highlight here and there. But other than that, haven't touched a lot of this palette. This is going to be kind of a long haul item. I've already have 20 uses, so I'm only 10 uses away from my 30 use goal, but I've only been working on it for 1 month. So I'm hoping that if I continue to reach for it consistently, if I can get 20 uses each month, maybe with 60 uses, I'll be able to hit pan on that beauty there. But these are very pigmented, very firmly pressed. It is notoriously difficult to hit pan on a ColourPop matte, but I'm going to enjoy the process all the same, and we will see what happens with this shade. So that one also is staying in. The next shade comes from my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams palette. I love having this palette around. I actually brought in the shade Twinkle Twinkle, which is this very beautiful like orange sherbet matte shade. I love this pastel orange, and I do have this as my first transition shade on my look today, and it's so easy to pair into a lot of different eyeshadow looks. Neutral works great with this one. I love it for a colorful look with this pink, and I've had a lot of fun playing with this palette. So here's what this shade was looking like when I brought it in just last month. I was able to reach for it 11 times in the past month, which I'm pretty happy with. And after those 11 uses, here's what it's looking like today. And there is the slightest of a dip starting to show on this shade. This is quite a powdery matte, so it does give a little bit of kick up when you reach into it with the brush. I'm not hopeful that I will be able to hit pan on this shade in 30 uses, but we shall see. I'm gonna reach for it as much as I can between next month and the following month and just see where we can go with this one. But 11 uses is good. I'm a third of the way there towards my goal, which is on pacing that I want to be, and this one is going to stay in as well. And I'm not really sad to have this palette around. It is so inspirational, fun to reach for, and it actually pairs really well with the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde, as well as with the Child palette, and also with the next palette that I'm about to talk about. So I've loved having this one around. It's just been such a fun little family of shades. Some of you are saying that this color palette was very reminiscent of the Natasha Denona Mini Zendo palette, I think it was, and I looked it up and you were 100% correct. It was spot on, and it's a fun little color story to reach for, so I really enjoyed it. But I'm getting ahead of myself because there's still one more shade to talk about. It's not going to make or break this color story, but it does come from my Too Faced The Sweet Peach palette. So I brought this palette in just last month, and I rolled in the shade Peaches and Cream, which is that matte cream shade. So here's what Peaches and Cream was looking like last month. It already had quite a nice little dip going on it, and I was really hopeful that I would be able to hit pan on it in just 1 month. So I was able to reach for it 21 times, and here's what it's looking like today. And as you can see, I do have a nice shiny pan on this shade, and that is my first pan within the entire palette, which feels so great because I've had this palette for so many years, and it's about stinking time that it has a pan in there. And I was scared that this pan wasn't gonna come. I was reaching for it every single day to set my eyeshadow primer, and it just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and no pan was in sight until finally yesterday. I did hit pan. I was about to film the update without hitting pan and just be okay with that, but I got delayed, and then the next day did my makeup and there the pan was. So it all worked out in the end, and I do now have one to add to my pan collection, and I get to roll in a new shade this update, which is so exciting and good news for everybody that we have something to look forward to in this update. And here is Peaches and Cream in the swatch. Nothing really exciting, just your basic cream colored eyeshadow. Nothing really special, but it was quite an easy color to mix in with our color story here, which was so neutral and just easy to reach for on these natural days, which I really have been loving wearing more natural makeup on a regular basis. Today, not included. It's just been a fun combination. So because I was working with such a neutral color palette during the past month, most of my looks were very neutral and not that exciting, and I didn't feel the need to take pictures of them. I was terrible about taking pictures during the past month. I was traveling a lot, just having fun and forgetting about documenting my makeup looks, and not to mention they were just not very exciting. They were mostly just smoky brown looks with a bronze shimmer. Nothing to write home about. So for that reason, I have just 3 makeup looks to share with you this month, and I think all of them involve Malacón. So I apologize for the lack of eyeshadow looks, but I'll try and be better in the next update to get more fun looks to share with you. So here's the first look that I'd like to share with you. This is kind of what I'm talking about when I mean I was getting a little bored with how I was using Malacón. I just had a tendency to gravitate towards that warm neutral crease and then El Malacón all over the lid. So here is one example of me wearing an eyeshadow look like that. This next picture is very similar, warm in the crease, El Malacón on the lid, and then I did actually put a little pop of pink, at least in this one, on the lower lash line. But I believe I also have Karma in the crease in this look, as well as Twinkle Twinkle as my first transition shade. And this next look, oh, I guess I have 4 looks. This next look definitely has Twinkle Twinkle in the crease. I'm not sure what's all over my lid here though. I want to say it's El Malacón, but it might not be. It does have like a tinge of green, but could just be like a very kind of greeny gold. I don't know. We'll have to just leave that one a mystery. And here's the last look I have to share with you. This also has El Malacón all over the lid, but I mixed it with a bronzy coppery shade from my Pan That palette, and that just toned it down a little bit. And of course I have those warm neutrals all in the crease. I don't think Karma's in the crease here. I believe it's shades from my other Pan That palette, my Droid Protocol palette. So that is all my eyeshadow looks today. Again, not exciting, but every day can't be exciting. You know, sometimes in life you just need to slow down, keep things a little more simple, and that's what the month of July was all about for me. Now let's get into my pan percentage, which is one of my favorite parts of these videos. I love updating you on the numbers in my collection. It's one of my favorite things to track. It makes me feel satisfied to see that my eyeshadow collection is getting a lot of use and getting the love that it deserves after all the money that I've spent on it. So I just track my pan percentage from year to year. I don't really adjust my numbers throughout the year. That's just how I decided to do it, just so I can kind of compare my progress throughout the entirety of a year without kind of changing it month by month. For me, that works. So my goal for this year is to reach a pan percentage of 20%, and I'm getting so close to that goal. So I started this year with 466 eyeshadow shades, and last month of those 466, I had pan on 88 of them. So my pan percentage was 18.88%, meaning I was just over 1% away from my 20% goal. So in the past month, I was able to hit pan on 5 new eyeshadow shades, not all of them from my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, but as you know, this is where I like to update my percentage. So since my last update, I hit pan on my Project Level Up palette. I hit 3 pans in my Pan That palette project, and then I hit the pan in Peaches and Cream from my Too Faced palette from this project. So those 5 new pans brings me to 93 shades of eyeshadow with pan in them out of 466. My new pan percentage this month is 19.96%. 0.04 away from my 20% goal. So if you're rounding up, I basically hit my goal, but I've always been rounding to the 100th of a percentage point. So one more pan will get me to my goal, and I'm really hoping that I am going to smash this goal and maybe even get to 25% or close to 25%. That would feel great for me. We shall see what happens, but I'm feeling great about this progress so far this year, and I'm excited to see where my numbers lie at the end. And now the time has come to select my next eyeshadow for this project. I'm going to use my Tiny Decisions app like I like to do. I'm going to select an eyeshadow palette first, and then I'm going to select a shade from that eyeshadow palette. So they're all in here. Let's see what comes up today. I'm getting text messages. That is personal. Oh, my potted singles. Not so excited about that, but that's okay. It might be good for me not to have another palette on my desk though right now. I have so many eyeshadow palettes I'm working on. So let's look on the bright side here. Let's grab those potted singles. So I have all of my potted singles in this little pink basket here. I have 1, 2, I have 10. I have 10 potted singles right now. So I'm just gonna roll a number 1 through 10. And when I count, I'll just count this way, starting on the right and go down and over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is how I'll count them. So let me see what comes in. We'll put 1 through 10 into my random number generator here. Okay, so I have got the numbers 1 through 10 right up there. Sorry, the glare is really bad today. I don't know. I'm gonna try and avoid it. Number 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, look at that. A blue shade. Fan those eyeshadows loves the blues, but this is one of my favorite Super Shock shadows. I'm nervous to see how this shadow still performs. It's pretty old. This is the shade Coconut, and it is a bright, vibrant, sparkly blue shade. It's like almost a cobalt blue. This will be pretty with my other shadows though. I'm excited for this kind of. This has always been one of my favorite Super Shock shadows in my collection. It's just so unique and so impactful. Ooh, look at that. It's gorgeous. So that is my shade that is coming into this project, Coconut. And it already does have like a little bit of a dip in it. So that feels good. And it still feels really nice and soft and moist. Not all dried out and crumbly like these Super Shock shadows can get. So that bodes well. And I'm excited to reach for this. I don't know how long pan is going to take, but these typically aren't too difficult to pan on because they are so soft and putty-like, and I'm just excited to play with this one more. Let me swatch out the rest of my eyeshadow shades so we can get an idea of what my palette looks like for this next month. And here is my new palette for the upcoming month. I'm very excited for this color palette. I think the blue is going to work beautifully with Twinkle Twinkle and Karma, and it'll be fun to mix the blue and the green. And of course, Droid Protocol is just going to be easy to use with any look basically. So I'm excited for creating some fun new looks. Feeling inspired. So that is all for my update this month. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it. And it means so much just to have you here and watching these videos. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. And I cannot wait to see you in my next update. And until then, bye. Swatchy fingers.